So ebooks have fueled the revolution in independent publishing, but print remains an important part. Many readers still prefer print, and paperbacks can be useful for authors who attend book signings, provide gifts to fans, or just want to see their own book on a shelf. Traditionally, formatting for print has required cumbersome templates required using cumbersome templates in Word, learning complicated software like InDesign. There also requires a subscription, so in the long term it doesn't work out that economical, or paying a professional book designer. With Vellum, which is a book formatting software, authors can achieve beautiful results on their own and in minutes. It literally takes within 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm going to show you exactly how easy this is after we hear from Danielle Cahill. Cahill. That's right. And her novel, A Lenten Rose. Okay, so Danielle, will you tell us a bit about your novel, please?
Definitely. So my book is called A Lenten Rose. It's about a girl who moves from England to Ireland following the death of her father as a sort of escape. When she gets there, she falls in love with a dashing young man who owns a country estate up in County Fermanagh. And after a whirlwind romance, they move there. And it's about the gradual unravelling of that relationship and the fact that sometimes things are sort of too good to be true, in fact. And happiness has to come from within. And eventually, well, you have to read it. I won't tell you the end.
Okay, so would you like to take the stage and give us an extract? Thank you.
So this is an extract from the beginning of the book, which is the London section, appropriately enough, given the title of this workshop. So, chapter 1. I did not think he was a snake. Emma hurried around Warwick Square as the bells of St. Gabriel's Church began to chime. She never left enough time to walk from Victoria Station. Maddening. Breathless from climbing the stairs of the Georgian townhouse, she entered the meeting room. Her colleagues were clustered around the mahogany table, looking tired and irritable. Fliss, the garden designer, stood in front of the bay window. Sorry I'm late, Emma said. Sketchy overground trains. My fault entirely. I hope you weren't waiting for me. She sat down in the empty seat near the window. No problem, said her boss, Perry. The new Leanne is giving us a garden update. You haven't missed much. Emma could see Fliss was mortified by Perry's dismissive attitude towards her garden designs. Fliss had joined Peregrine Cassidy Designs 6 months ago when Emma's best friend, Leanne, left to go back to Dublin, but Perry still could not remember her name. Go on, Fliss, Emma said with a kind smile. We're all ears. What's the latest on gardens? I'm nearly done, Fliss said, looking to Perry for guidance. He was staring past her at the leafy trees of Warwick Square, fluttering in the breeze. Fliss continued, I just finished a prairie-style roof terrace over in Shoreditch. It has a meadow feel, overshadowed by the London skyline. I installed a vertical garden made of ferns as well. It was my first one. Key plants included sedum, allium, lavender. That's enough, no need to list them all, Perry interrupted, waving at Fliss to sit down. I have some good news. Now you're here, Emma, I might as well share. We have a new pitch. Emma poured herself some coffee from the silver coffee pot in the middle of the table, forcing her tired mind to focus on what Perry was saying. She had been struggling for weeks with bad insomnia. It was important that she keep up at work, otherwise Perry would give the best projects to someone else. This is the job for us, Emma. You're going to lead on our Dublin development, Perry said. He gloried in being part of the old school, having set up his design studio in the heart of Pimlico back in the late 1980s. But he was always alert for new business opportunities. Who knows what's going to happen to British hotels in this uncertain market? Did you know over 70 hotels are due to open in Dublin this year? We need to get in on the action. Sounds like we're in the wrong city, Emma said, smiling at Perry. She felt a flood of relief that Perry had picked her. Exactly, Perry agreed. We must evolve and expand. Richard Eustace, a dear friend of mine, has agreed we can run the pitch. We're supposed to bring some London sophistication to the whole thing. Most of the people moving over to Dublin are involved in tech, so nothing too Victorian or fussy. Think Shoreditch House cool. A library for events, photo booths, and terrifically dry martinis. Maybe a few good rugs? Perry's favourite hobby was collecting antique rugs. After running out of floor space in his flat in Chelsea, he purchased a place up in Norfolk to house his vast collection of 17th century Mughal carpets. Mughal carpets in the entrance hall, of course, we have to have those, Emma said. She knew her audience. Velvet armchairs and lampshades that looked like a bride's skirt, she extemporised, wondering if her suggestions were a little too conventional. All she had to do was to keep it together for the rest of the meeting. She glanced at Perry, hoping that she'd done enough. Peregrine Cassidy, Perry for short, was as bald as a coot and wore immaculate clothes in subtle tones of grey and blue. Cheered by Emma's chirpy response, he smirked back at her. Emma knew that Perry loved positivity, even if it was fake. He could be inspirational when he was in a good mood. At drinks parties, he liked to tell stories of the good old days when he was given in free rein by an oligarch to furnish a replica of Versailles. Emma had been taken on as an intern straight out of university, and she had worked tirelessly for him for 8 years. Perry was convinced that Emma had it, whatever it was, and made a pet of her. Emma, you have all the relevant experience. Start putting together some ideas. We're meeting the clients tomorrow, or one of the brothers at least, so we haven't got long. Elgin will want something original. He's particularly difficult to please. Bring me some of your Emma magic. Absolutely, Emma chirped with a sinking feeling. Now she had an immediate deadline. She usually enjoyed pitching new ideas and charming, challenging people, but she was emotionally spent and so tired. She left the weekly team meeting with her head humming. Normally she would have called her father, who had been a construction foreman, and talked through her ideas for the pitch. Just the sound of his voice used to steady her. He would have been delighted that she might be going to Dublin, where he was born. Emma stopped on the stairs on her way up to her desk, overwhelmed for a moment by loss. The bells of St. Gabriel's chimed the half hour. At least it was not long until she could go home.
So how far are you with the book?
I've completed the manuscript for the moment. I've been editing it since January, so it's been quite a long, drawn-out editing process. But yeah, so I think I'm more or less there, but definitely formatting is probably one of the key things at the moment. I notice all the time that I've sort of not quite aligned things properly, so yeah.
And how many versions did you say?
One a week since the 13th of January, so I don't know exactly how many. I'm committed.
That's great. Okay.
I print them out like this.
That's really cool. And you
like a book.
This is really cool.
With the draft date on it, and then edit it on the tube.
And is it like 1.5 lines? The spacing?
Yeah.
It's not double, isn't it?
Yeah, 1.5. Because if it's double, then it becomes like 2. I'd need a much longer treasury tag.
Yeah.
Sorry, boring reasons here.
All right, then. So a few years back, I tried to format a book, and it took me about 6 months to find something that worked, because I would try Word. I learned InDesign. It took about 2 days, and it's super complicated. It's not just about dragging and dropping things into frames and things. So I actually, at the time, Willem had just come out, and it was such a relief because you can do incredible things. Like you can indent you can indent the paragraphs. You can actually use glyphs, and you can drop cap the first letter of the page. Like really kind of geeky things that give it the finish. So I'm going to format your book. You can do it as an ebook, which won't take long, but they've also managed to do it as a print. Somebody here was asking about that. You can also do it in print as well. So it's not just, they have this thing about flow. So when you do it electronically as an ebook, it has to flow in a certain way in order for it to read. Otherwise, the text can be all over the place. But it's something that I get really excited about because it makes the finish really professional. So the downside to Vellum is that it only works on a Mac. I don't know how many people here have got a PC. So this is the program, and you open it. It's a new file. So you couldn't do this right at the beginning when it first came up, but now you can just import the Word file, and it will come up like this. So if you can see, you've got your title page. Is it lantern?
Rose, yeah.
Lantern. Oh, sure. Title. You don't have a front cover?
Not at this stage.
No, I could mock you one up now, but I wouldn't. I think you've only got, luckily we've only got 15 minutes. So you basically drag and drop it, and they have all these styles you can do. So you can change the heading. To whichever one you want. You can change the chapters. It's all pretty simple, but for those of you who wanted to do the same in print, you can also print it. So these are the print settings, and you'd be able to do the same like that simply. You won't need InDesign, you just need to know what format, what standard you want. And it's good to go, pretty much. You just import it. After you've put the book design on there, you just export. You export it, but you need a credit for that. It takes credits for that. You can design everything for free, and then when you want to export it for sale, you just need to buy credits for that. And then it ends up looking like this. Like on your phone, it will look like on your iPad, it would look like this. You can change the chapters. The breaks. And then you just purchase a book generation generator, and then it's all ready to be put out to Amazon. So that's basically it. Literally, you can do it over a coffee.
It's amazing.
It's much, much quicker than the 6 months it took me to take care of, to find out. So I wanted to share that all with you guys. You don't have to pay people to do expensive formatting. You can do it yourself. I mean, you used to be able to buy individual credits, but I think you can only buy them in bulk now. But that's basically it. Has anyone got any questions?
Are they ever going to make one for a PC?
No, they did tell me to tell you guys that was the only limitation at the moment. It's made by two guys called Brad and Brad from San Francisco. So now I can just say, hello, Brad, thanks for... I would have these queries, like, what do you mean you can't do indents, or where's the glyph, or why can't I change the pattern and all of that? So they developed it quite well. They had a beta stage for paper as well. So that, I mean, in order to to do this. I don't know how they managed to be able to do it for paper as well, because InDesign is so complicated. And of course, you can use something like Canva. I don't know if any of you guys know Canva.com is to mock up your. Let me just see if I can. Do you have any questions for? Vellum, VELLUM 180. And I was going to mock you up a book cover, because that you can do in the time it takes a coffee, but I'm atrocious with book covers, so I won't do it. I mean, I can put some text to just show you how to do it, but it's super, super simple. And by the time you leave, I could actually just, if you wanted to generate it, you could actually put it back up.
So should I tell you what should be on it? Or do you,
what do you mean?
Do you, what does it look like? Is it words or pictures or?
No, it's a book. It looks like, well, the generated version, that's what it looks like. Can you see it? This is an iPad version. This is a iPad version, Android version, a print version. So all the versions you can think of, they've managed to program it. So every time you click on it, it will show up on every device. So it's great for all devices, computers, Kindles, e-readers and things like that. But also available for print, which is something that, is quite new. I think at the moment, it's like $240 for an unlimited print and ebook. But there's another, there are other fees as well, but that's the unlimited. That's what we've been given as a prize, the third prize tonight. Yeah, so if anybody wants to make unlimited books, there's somebody's going to be there tonight that's got that capability. It's not that expensive if you're going to do more than one, for sure. It's not that expensive, because what you probably pay someone to do it, I mean, you could get it done quite cheaply, but if you want control, and I think a lot of people go into self-publishing for control, so they can have complete control over the creative process, it's brilliant.
And of course, you can include links within the ebook.
Yeah, that's another exciting thing.
Yeah, so, I guess, probably.
It's really easy. You can actually you could include video as well, as far as I know. So it's becoming quite. It's another way to become like multimedia. You can include links. You can include pictures as well. Like, say you were talking about a newspaper clipping or something, or a portrait. If you're doing like historical fiction and you wanted. Well, I'm a photographer, so if I wanted to make a photo book, I haven't quite tested it out for photo books yet, but for novels for sure. Yeah. I wouldn't use anything else, or anything, even non-fiction. I've formatted books in non-fiction, and they also have footnotes and everything. So, yeah. Any other questions?
I've got a question for Danielle. I wanted to ask, which genre is your story?
Sorry?
What's the genre of your story?
The genre?
Yes.
It's a romance, but also crossed with a family saga.
Okay. Well, if nobody has any more questions, we're bang on time. Well, we've got 2 minutes to spare. So that was a quick one, quick practical session. I am going to be doing a workshop at some stage about how to build your author website in an afternoon. If anybody's interested, let me know. Because that's something that I found that not enough people are doing. Like, if you're a photographer, Instagram is sufficient, but I think if you're an author, it's good to have, it's good to have a website, just because it also, you can put your thoughts down as well, like have some kind of structure to things.
As we've got 2 minutes spare,
yes.
What kind of ingredients do you suggest off the top of your head should go into an author's website?
Oh.
An extract from the novel, video in the same way?
Well, I think you should have You should definitely have a book mock-up. Like, you know, you have the 3D books. So there are ways in Photoshop that you wrap your front cover around a book and you make it like it's like a fake book, really. It's a 3D book, it's a mock-up. You definitely have your profile, picture, a blurb of your book, but maybe what inspired you to write that. So your picture, a blurb, a biography, something visual, definitely something visual, and not to just have it white. A contact page, a sign-up page, not just like a slip. And it doesn't have to be more than one page. You can literally do it within, and again, you can do that over. If you've got the pictures and the copy, you can do that really quickly as well. So I've just been banging them out.
That's a nudge to me.
No, some people have. Some people didn't have a website last week, and they have gone on, you know, stuff like Wix, which, you know, I've tried a few of the platforms. I have my preferences. So if anybody wants to find out more about that, you can come and talk to me. But I just before, and video would be perfect. I wanted to say, in case I don't have time later, Norma Cohen has, she has been coaching the writers today. Everybody, well, most of them got a coaching session, and Norma coached me about 5 years ago. And I don't know what it is that she does. So she turns a switch on or off, maybe the nervous switch. You know, it does come back every so often, but she does a brilliant job. So stuff like when you need to perform or when you need to talk to people, she'll tell you how to, you know, deliver it, the stuff around inflection, poise, and you just never forget that. And even though that's for the readings, I think that everybody could do with that, just for confidence. So thank you so much, Norma. And if you want to do a video, I also did something called Novel London on Location. So if you've written a book in London, I'd actually go to the location where you wrote it, and then you'd do a live reading there. So that's something that, again, Norma coached me for, and I think it's great. Like all of this stuff, the easier, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, but it's good to tap into the professionals who know what they're doing. So, yeah, that's all. And come next year if we have it again, because, you know, platforms like this are for emerging writers. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to support fresh new fiction, as it were. So, thank you.